for the next episode. I can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my snap shoes off, no remote control. I'm ready for the next episode.
Hi, guys. Welcome to next episode. I'm your host, Nick.
And I'm Jess.
And today we are going to be discussing the sleeper hit Damascus.
Yes.
So originally, Damascus was supposed to air on AMC, but apparently they canceled it mid-production along with some other shows so they could take a tax write-off. Do you think that was a mistake on AMC's part?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that was the biggest mistake ever. This show was incredible. It was amazing. It was well done, well written, well produced. This was a big L for AMC.
I guess maybe they did not believe in the show because it was like mid-production. And so they still released 6 shows. So I don't know like what AMC saw, what they didn't see, but I'm really, really shocked that they decided to cancel this show because it is so different from anything else that is out there.
Yeah. I don't know what would make them lose the show. It is very different, which I think is wonderful. But sometimes networks don't take a chance on things that are different.
So the fact that this show deals with like the mental health of like a Black man is, to me, I did not realize it until I saw it. I'm like, man, we don't really get shows like this.
No, we don't.
And the fact that they made it a comedy, so it deals with his issues, but it's entertaining and it's lighthearted. They don't make him tragic,
Yeah.
and I really, really like that. So I think that this show, I hate that AMC let it go. I hope someone else picks it up. I would love to see more of this world, more of this story.
Yeah. Well, right now, Tubi picked it up and aired it. So I'm still hoping for a second season because it definitely ends on a cliffhanger and I need resolution.
Resolution too. I'm really, honestly, I'm rooting for Damascus. Like, I want him to be okay. The fact that he recognizes that he's not and he's trying like to get help. Now, one thing I wish they would have addressed more clearly, and maybe I missed it, maybe they did address it because I'm prone to missing things. What made him seek out therapy?
Well, I think that depends on. Okay, not to get too deep. This show is very deep. There's a lot of layers to it.
Mm-hmm.
And did we say the premise of the show?
Not yet. We kind of alluded to it.
Okay, but it's a Black man. He's 33 years old. He is seeking out this alternative reality therapy called Dirt, where he gets to go and see alternate versions of his life in this therapy. What was your question? I'm sorry, you asked me a question.
My question was, what do you think? Do they address what made him originally seek out therapy?
So, and that's why I'm like, it depends on what you see as his actual reality. So, I would say, and the thing that is supposed to be his actual reality, his real life, it is the fact that people keep alluding to, how Damascus is, you know who he is, and he doesn't clearly know who he is, I think, and he doesn't know what they're talking about. He keeps trying to get more information. So I think he's trying to figure out more about himself, but also then of course there's always underlying issues. So there's all his mom passed, I want to say 5 years prior to the show starting, and he's never really dealt with that, which does come up later in therapy, but I don't know that that was his initial reason.
So yeah, I thought that that was interesting, and I really would like for them to explore that more. What actually like led him to like seeking therapy? Because in the Black community in general, we are tiptoeing into the idea of therapy. I would say like it's definitely increasing, but therapy has is still there's still a stigma in our community, and I think Black men especially like have a stigma when it comes to seeking therapy. So the fact that he sought therapy is like mind blowing. And for that to be like the premise of the show is like, let's watch like this black man like go through therapy and like address his issues, but the fact that they put a sci-fi bent to it and the fact that it's a comedy, I
Mhm.
really, really I loved this show. I love this show. And so this show was created, I'm gonna pull up their name so that I can do them justice. This show was written and created by Terrence Arvell Chisholm. And
There
I,
you
I
go.
want to make sure I say his name completely and get it right because he deserves his flowers and he
Mhm.
deserves more opportunity to create art because his art was very, very black,
Mhm.
but it was very, very beautiful. It was very, very, it was like of the
Incredibly well
culture.
done.
Like, I appreciate art that is black in nature organically.
Mhm. Forced.
Exactly.
Forced, right?
It was so there were so many beautiful aspects. Like I enjoyed like the setting, like I enjoyed it all. I enjoyed the music, I enjoyed the dialogue. It all felt so seamless. And like it was I'm like this show was coming together so beautifully and the fact that AMC just canceled it all that breaks my heart cuz I
Mhm.
can see how much hard work they were putting into the show.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing. I'm like, there was so much put into the show to just cancel it for a tax write-off is crazy.
It is. It is because like I said, I feel like this show was cutting edge and it was breaking through and showing something like that we were missing something that was needed in media. Like this show honestly was needed. We've never had this before. We need more. I need more. So I created a list of questions to ask you because like I said, I miss things. And so I'm gonna ask you these questions and you tell me what you think, okay?
Okay, okay, no problem.
So my first question is, okay, so it says like what are the dirt sessions really? Is he actually viewing another timeline? Are they trying to say another person exist like another him exists and you are
Mhm.
just literally peeping in on what their life could be as in like, okay, this is what your life could have been? Or are these like essentially like where his mind is creating these scenarios and saying, this is what I could have been. This is how my life could have gone.
So I will say this because there's a lot of questions in the show. And for me, there's a lot of things that are not answered, you know? So I think the initial thing of dirt was supposed to be like, these are things that, these are alternates that his mind is creating so that he can work through his issues, is the idea behind dirt. However, I think there's a lot open. So it could be that, like, that was what their was intention was, but what it's actually doing is giving him access to other timelines. I still think there's room for that too, and we just haven't found that out yet. But I think the intent of Dirk was your mind is using these alternative realities to process your issue.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I'm like, timeline is a very specific word for me as a science fiction person. I'm a sci-fi girly. So when I hear timeline, I'm hearing this is now a multiverse that we are in, and the dirt is essentially opening and allowing him to step in and out of other timelines and into and out of other like multiverses. That is what I initially thought. But after watching the show, I'm like, maybe not. Maybe
Hmm.
these are all within his head
Hmm.
and not separate timelines.
Okay. So yeah, and I think I started with it's all like I said, it's all in his head. But hey, you know how you build something for one thing and then realize it can do something else or it's doing something else. So
That's
I still
true.
think there's openings for it to possibly be other timelines.
Yeah, it can go either way. Just I want it like I'm like, okay, how did you I wanted to know how you perceived it because there have been times when I have just like perceive things completely wrong and it's not actually
Yeah.
what's going on.
But I think this is intentionally like it's supposed to leave you with a lot of questions. And had they been able to fully develop it, we probably would have gotten answers slowly along the timeline. But then it got erupted by AMC's business dealings. So you thought it the other way. You thought of timelines. It was a different timeline.
Because I honestly thought that I heard his therapist use the word timeline. And so that's what I was like, "Oh, these are timelines." He's stepping in like quantum leap style, stepping
Hmm.
in to these timelines and then leaping out. But as I was like watching it, I'm starting to think, I'm like, well, maybe these are not timelines. And I'm going to tell you like why I'm like, okay, because the first leap, like when he like is with his sister and like she's pregnant and he has to go on like the mission, to confront her baby daddy. I'm like, he comes out and he's like, oh, I had a sister, like a half sister in this timeline. So I'm like, okay, I'm thinking timeline. But then him and the therapist, like when he talks about his relationship with his girlfriend Buddy and how he's not sure if he can see it long term. And the doctor's like, okay, well, let's try it. And when he jumps into like the long term vision, it's not Buddy there, but it's Naomi.
Hmm.
That made me think, okay, maybe he's not stepping into different timelines.
Yeah.
Maybe his mind is creating this and he has a fixation currently with Naomi and that's why she's there and not Buddy. Because I can
Right.
clearly see a timeline where him and Buddy are together living in domestic bliss, but the Naomi that we meet in the first like episode, what I'm considering to be reality, that iteration of Naomi does not give domestic bliss with like multiple kids. It gives like we live like in the city as an artsy like couple kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, hold on. Now I'm confused. But then as I go and watch the show again, I'm seeing all these different iterations of Naomi. She's different,
In
markedly
every
different
direction.
every time I see her, but I have thoughts on that and we'll move on to that cuz
Okay.
I have that's going to come up in a few minutes.
All right.
Why do you think we never see his mom's face?
Because he's not ready to confront his mom's death. Just simple as that. He's not ready. He needs to. It's affecting everything in his life, but we never see her face. We might see her from behind, or we might see one thing we see her hand, but we don't see her because he cannot confront the pain of his mom's death. That's what he's working towards.
Like I honestly, like I do agree with you 100% on that. But it sounds like he had issues with with his mom when she was alive.
Hmm.
And then she died, and he was never able to address those issues. And so I think that's one of the reasons why like her death is so hard for him
Hmm.
is because he doesn't know what to do with these unresolved feelings.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think
I think
that's
I can
very
control that.
interesting because if that's like the basis of like your issues that you're there in therapy, I honestly feel like he does not even address them like during these dirt sessions. He goes out of his way, I feel like, to not address the issue that he has with his mom, which is the crux of the matter.
Which is the avoidance. That's the avoidance. And if you realize, like, at some point, the therapist points out that he is using dirt to escape reality rather than confront his issues. You know what I mean? He almost is using it like a drug, And so I think he wants to, but he's afraid to, and he's doing that push and pull. Eventually, he says in the therapist chair when he's just talking to the therapist that he wanted to deal with his mom's death, but then he continues to not. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you can want to deal with the issue in your life. It's still hard. It's challenging. I
It
think he's
is.
really struggling with it.
Okay. So the first glimpse of what we are being told is his reality is episode 2 where he's attending like the art show with Red and he meets Naomi. We meet his girlfriend Buddy. So we're like if we are saying that that is his actual reality, what do you think of his real life?
It's empty. He's just like a shell. You know what I mean? Like he is really empty. He's in a relationship that he does not want to be in, but will not leave. He knows that he does not like Buddy. He's not succeeding at work, and he's putting up pretty horrible projects. You know what I mean? He sees himself as this artist, but what he's creating, he's an artist for the government, which is interesting.
So interesting.
But even what he's putting up at work is like bare minimum basic to the point where he has to be called out about that. He is not succeeding. He's running away and avoiding friendships. Like he's struggling. And
Right.
he's living this mundane life where he has opportunity for connection, but he's not taking advantage of those opportunities to connect with people.
So what I found interesting was that Buddy said that he looked good on paper.
Mhm.
And that is very true. If you zoom out, you're like, this man has his own place. He's got a good, stable
Government
job.
job.
He has no children. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
he seems like, oh, he's got his stuff together and that he would be like the ultimate person. But when you zoom in, you see he creates a very sterile environment, a
Mhm.
highly controlled environment, and it's very emotionless. Like he is very guarded, and even like as his friend Red is like trying to show him like love and try to show him tenderness and trying to show him how to be there for someone. Like he's like, yeah, I'll just pay for your painting because I would rather like spend money than connect with you on a real way. And his relationship with Buddy is so interesting. And the reason why it's interesting is because, like, yes, he is attracted to her, but he does not like her and he definitely does not love her, but he tries to make it seem like it's that she's the reason why. Like when she was like, "Oh, you know what? You should like decorate your home and you can use like the app or the algorithm to help you decorate your home." And he's like, "I don't want to do that because I'm a pure artist." Kind of thing to make it seem like, oh, he was like better than her because he wouldn't use the app. And it's like, I feel like he makes it seem like, oh, you know what? She's too by the book or she's not a real artist. But in the fact, he is the one that's restricted. Like she
Mhm.
was like loosening up and hanging out with the couple who shows like a lot of affection. And she was trying to bring that out of
Stop.
Damascus. Now, it was a little weird.
It was weird.
The way Buddy was behaving, I
It was weird.
she seems very attracted to Red and his girlfriend as a couple. I'm gonna just
Agreed.
say that. Like, I don't know. Like that's what I have my feelings, but I understand what she was trying to do. She was trying to get Damascus to show some feelings, to
Mhm.
show some passion, and he is very cold and he is very sterile to her.
Girl, when he described their love life as perfectly sufficient,
Right.
if you don't leave right then, perfectly sufficient?
Yes. And
Oh
so
my god.
I was very happy when they broke up because honestly, like
Did they officially break up?
did you see her again after they argued and left? And
I
he kind of said it the next day that they kind of like we're not together.
okay.
We never saw her again. Thanksgiving,
I
they
hope
weren't
so. They
together.
needed to break up, but
They
like I
definitely
didn't
needed to because he did not like that girl.
he did not, and like he says that to the therapist. He said he likes her infinitesimally less each day.
Yes,
But, like, they were doing the same thing, honestly. They both were like, "Look good, you look good on paper, so we'll stay together." Because he knew he didn't like her, and he was liking her less and less each day, and she knew that he wasn't capable of giving her what she needed. But he looks good on paper, and she thinks the algorithm put them together. She has a lot of faith in the algorithm. So you're staying with this man, and you're trying to force things out of him that are just not in him.
right. I don't think it's that she did not like him, but I don't think her needs were being met because I
No,
don't think he was meeting her emotional needs. I don't think, he was so I don't understand how she thought that was going to go. I think she felt like maybe she could pull something out of him, but
that's not who he
he was
is.
not trying to give it up. He
That's
wasn't.
not who he is. And at some point, you gotta, cut your losses and be like, this man, and not like she doesn't know he doesn't like her, but you know that your needs are not being met. Like
Right.
you know that they're not, and they haven't been. Y'all been together for what, 3 years? I think they said. And like he just doesn't communicate with her like a couple would communicate. You know,
Right.
she's always an afterthought.
Absolutely. He like, even when they ran into to each other at the art gallery, like, that conversation, it was so businesslike.
So awkward, and he seemed annoyed.
He was annoyed because he had just met Naomi.
I think he would be annoyed regardless. But you know what? This is a perfect like this. If they, I hope they are broken up. If they had not broken up, it would have been one of those couples that been together for like 15 years and then get married, and then you're like, how did you marry a woman that you hate? Because by that time he would have hated her.
Absolutely. They would have been divorced 6 months later. The reason
Yeah.
why they probably stayed together as long as they did is because they didn't live together, so it was a little bit harder for her to clock how much he did not like her.
Hmm.
It's very weird because she seems like a nice girl, very beautiful. You know what I mean? Like
And that's the other thing. Like she does not want much, so I'm like, girl, you can find what you want because you
right.
don't want a whole lot.
No,
But
just somebody
this
who's not a robot.
right, this man, he can't stand you.
So, because we were already talking about Buddy and his hatred for Buddy, I'm gonna ask you a question about Naomi and then go back to my other question. So, like, do you think he's obsessed with Naomi because he doesn't really know her? Like, he meets her at that art gallery and they have a very short conversation. Then he sees her artistic performance, and then after that, she's like in just about every timeline except for Thanksgiving. I don't think she's in Thanksgiving, but you see her popping up in like every one of his like dirt sessions for the most part after that. But
Okay.
he does not know that woman.
He doesn't know that woman. I think he is a lot more attracted to her than he is to Buddy, which I think is one thing. But he says something, it's a couple things that he says as to what I think it is. When going back to Buddy, he's talking to the psychiatrist about Buddy, and she's kind of like, "You had a girlfriend for this long, you didn't mention her." And then they end up talking about like, "Oh, why did he stay with her?" And he basically says that he likes the way that she views him.
Hmm.
He stays with Buddy because she likes the way that she sees him, and he wants to
Right.
hold on to the image of the way she sees him. Okay, keep that in mind. Right,
Okay.
one. Then later on, when he's going through the dirt episodes, there's one where he's in the sanitarium
Hmm.
and he's talking to Naomi because they have chemistry in everyone.
They do.
One, they have a very strong chemistry, and two, he's oh, I think he's just more attracted to her. She's asking him about herself in the other realities, and he starts describing how she makes him feel about himself. Okay.
Right.
To the point where Naomi says that all of that is about you, none of that is about me. And then he has to admit, oh, I don't know you very well. Okay. So I think with both of these women and with women in general, like I think this is another example about the way in men objectify women that's not just sexual. Like
Hmm.
women are really a means to an end for them, a way to get to something for them. So with Buddy, she is the on paper looks good girlfriend. Everybody would understand why she's attractive and like fits into my little cookie cutter box of life. And I get to feel good about myself because she thinks so positively of me.
Hmm.
Same thing. He was like, Naomi makes me feel like I can do anything. I can be creative. I can do all this kind of stuff. Okay. So again, it's not the women, it's the way that they make you feel about yourself because you don't have a grounded sense of self. And because women are objects to a lot of men, they just function in how you benefit them.
So, so you don't think that his feelings for Naomi are genuine?
As genuine as they can be until he works through some stuff.
But he also doesn't know that woman. Like,
Hmm.
he literally only had that conversation right before
He,
it was
he essentially has a crush. What does it take to have a crush? You know
that's
what I mean?
okay. I see what you're
He
saying.
essentially has a crush. I'm not saying he's in love with her. I think the attraction, I think the chemistry is real. Those things take nothing.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But he gets called out on the fact that he does not really know her. Would something really work between them? I have no idea because you don't know that woman. And right now, you can't even get to know women. You know what I mean? Women are
Mhm.
literally just functional for you.
That's true.
And you know,
Yes.
the best relationship that I think he had was the one where he was in the relationship with Red in one of the alternative realities. That is the most human we see him.
Yes, and I do wanna talk about that specifically when we break
Hmm.
down the
Yeah,
different
dirt
dirt
sessions.
sessions because that was one of the most interesting
It
sessions.
was. That's the most that he's interacting with another person romantically as an actual partner.
Mhm.
And that is the most he sees that that other person gets to be a person in a
Right.
way that it doesn't with either of the two women.
That's very true. Like, speaking about the dirt sessions in general, what do you feel like the dirt like sessions reveal about his issues? Like, he's supposed to be using the dirt sessions to like illuminate his issues, work through his issues. Like, what did you learn about him and his issues while like looking at his dirt sessions?
So I think that he doesn't have a clear sense of himself. I think it's the biggest thing. And that's why he's looking so hard for what other people see in him. He's trying to figure out what the coworkers are saying about him, partially because he does not have a clear understanding of himself. I think he is definitely clear. The biggest one is that he has a lot of issues with his mother and her death, both confronting just the grief and the loss of her, but also whatever issues he had with her prior to. I think the dirt sessions bring that out. And that he has a very even though he connects more with men, like the connections are more genuine, he still has a significant difficulty connecting with anyone. That's what I learned. What about you?
So when I was watching, honestly, I was watching these dirt sessions and some of them are weird.
Yeah.
Like the one where he's like a priest and Naomi is like a nun. That one was weird. The one where which is it? Oh, the one where they're it's almost as if they're like on Married at First Sight.
Girl.
That one was also weird, and he was also so different in that episode than I feel like in any other session and in real life. The way that he, like, kept referencing his mom and trying to, like, keep things a certain way because of her, like, it was like he was like the ultimate mama's boy,
Mhm.
and that was really interesting to me because he even though he's still trying to deal with his mom's death, it's very clear that he was not a mama's boy. Like they even though he didn't know his father, like they had distance and he felt like she did not take care of him emotionally the way that he needed her to because she was so busy pouring into other people. So I'm like he's trying on these different experiences and I'm like, what are you trying I'm asking myself, like, what are you trying to get out of like what was the point of that session? What are you trying to get out of that session? And so I do agree with you about the I feel like the same issues, but I like some of those sessions, I'm like, sir, what is your mind doing? What are you trying to say to me? What are you trying to show me?
And honestly, like, like we've said before, healing is not linear. So I think he's getting closer and he's getting closer. And, there's sometimes that move forward, move back. So even though his personality is really different in that one where he is like on Married at First Sight, it
Mhm.
is. And just because he's talking about his mother a lot and that he is mentioning her and keeping everything the way doesn't mean that they had a good relationship in either thing. But that person is just able to talk, at least have the conversation in a way that he's not able to even have the conversation. Because if you remember at the end, he's using his mother's hand to grow the isopods.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And then we don't know, to me, it made it intentionally vague as to whether or not he killed her in the first place.
You know what? I honestly forgot. I think I saw that hand and my brain was like, nope, not dealing with that.
So, because I'm like, that almost gives me a Norman Bates, like, kind
Very,
of
very he was
a
so
field.
creepy.
He was so creepy in that.
He was so creepy in that session. I was just like
Mhm,
and then the show always ends too.
mhm.
And so it's like something wild, like you're watching like the session and then the show's like done and it just makes you like stop and like you have to just sit there and you just like what did I just experience and you have to process it like for yourself. You're not even processing it with the character. You're like alone, like, is
The
he
okay,
finding himself?
girl. And the other thing with that particular episode too is that that character is very clearly stuck around his mother's death. And what is the whole thing? He's stuck.
He
You
is.
know.
Yes, he's
But that one manifests more physically in that he's keeping the mother's things. He's keeping her a physical person. You know what I mean? So I see connections there. Like we're
can
circling the wagons a bit. We're getting closer.
can like very briefly stop and talk about casting for a second? So this is another like reason why I am angry at AMC. So do you remember when we talked about Tyler Perry being a supervillain because he uses like actors who are near dear to us and gives them trash roles,
Yeah.
trash dialogue, but like using like people who tug on our emotional heartstrings to do it? Like this show is very well written. Excellent story. And the
Mhm.
fact that he put Martin Lawrence and Janice Hubert and the
And
guy from Hamilton
Lynn Whitfield.
and
And then
Lynn Whitfield.
Lynn Whitfield and Martin have scenes together, and,
Yes,
they just been line the between love and hate oh
yes,
my god. And then they go at each other again.
yes. Like that there it's beautiful. And it hits like that, it pulls that nostalgia from you. And I was smiling so big. I'm like, it's the real
Honey,
Aunt Viv. It's the real Aunt Viv.
and forever, because they took her away from us, anything Janet Hubert is in, I'm going to or is it Hubert? I think I might be pronouncing it wrong, but anything she is in, I'm going to watch.
Yes.
Anything she is in, I'm going to watch. So I'm like, I saw Aunt Viv, the real Aunt Viv. Oh,
Hmm.
I'm stopping.
Yes.
I'm stopping.
And so it's beautiful. The way that he gave like Martin Lawrence like good work. He gave him
Yeah.
good work to do because it was within his vein. Like he got to do like the comedy stuff that
Comedy.
he's good in, the emotional arguing stuff that he's like good in, but it was well written. The character was good. The character wasn't one note. Like you
Mm-mm.
see how he's like the patriarch of the family, but he's dealing with his own health issues, but he's trying to maintain his role. Like
Mhm.
I like and he was only in, I think, maybe 3 episodes, but they
Yeah.
were in these episodes of like
So
30
good.
minutes, but he was able to create a well-rounded character.
And he's dealing with the isolation and loneliness. You see him grappling with that of his life
Yes,
choices from being like essentially like a thug when he was younger.
yes,
And he's dealing with the results of the isolation that created in his oh my God. I love Martin. And this is different. This is something we've never seen Martin do.
never, never, because
So
even
this
though
is a
he
very
did,
I enjoyed it.
there was a certain amount of restraint that he had to have in this role that he doesn't normally do. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like I was like, it was beautiful. That's what I'm saying. Like the show was so good. It was so well written. And I'm like, he used the actors in the best way possible. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? He highlighted and showcased what they could do because the Lynn Whitfield speech at Thanksgiving when she was talking about the history of that pan, because I'm like, okay, lady, like you and this pan are doing entirely too much. And then she gives the story of the pan and you really understand like the strength of why she's so upset. I still think
Right.
she was like a little crazy because you shouldn't have, if it was that important, you should not have even given it to him. That should not have left your house. But you understand, like, her
But then you're
speech
supposed to
was
pass it.
passionate and it
Girl,
was beautiful.
can I have a controversial take on that though?
Yes.
If I have a I'm like, as much as I know she went over the top, if that was me, I would have amped out the same way. I would have amped out these when I tell you, when she's telling the story about how that thing was passed down through slavery, I am on the wrong side at this point. The only thing I would not have done is you know me, I wouldn't have stopped dinner. I can't do that.
Yeah, stopping dinner was crazy, but that's what I'm saying. Like, she was not wrong, but she was like, she took it a little too far because I
Mhm.
know that is not the first time that boy has heard the story of that pan and why that pan is so special. Why are you using that pan to make eggs and then throwing it in the dishwasher?
And that's the thing, like, but Damascus is taking responsibility. So she's telling that story to Damascus. She's not
Right, but
telling it.
I'm saying like it should have never happened is what I'm saying. The
I
situation
agree
should
with
have
you.
never happened because why would you make eggs out of the 200-year-old slave pan that's your family heirloom and that's the Thanksgiving cornbread pan? She gave you that to make the Thanksgiving cornbread.
And then you
That's
gaslit
it.
the heck out of her about that, like you weren't supposed to make that cornbread. You know she told you that. You keep trying to act out like this woman got memory issues when she did not remember that story since the big dawn of time.
Can I
Girl,
tell you him constantly saying she's got memory issues, she don't take her ginkgo biloba. But her reciting that very detailed, I said, that man is lying. She does not have memory issues. He is gaslighting her.
One of my favorite moments of the whole show is his daddy calling him trifling and
Yes,
calling him out and saying, I know my son did it. I know you taking the fall from my son. My son trifling. He gonna be trifling. So you gonna marry him or not? But understand, if you marry him, you marrying his trifling ass, and he gonna still be trifling.
right.
Okay. So you need to decide for
Absolutely.
yourself, sir, if you want to deal with this triflingness for the rest of your life. I'm good either way.
Right, right. So yes, like Lynn Whitfield was able to shine and do what she does best. Martin was able to shine. I loved seeing Janet on television. I'm like, she is like Felicia Rashad. Like she
Yes.
is that
Every time
to
I see her.
me, that respected, and she should still be getting her flowers. Put her in any and everything. We love her, we want to see her. And so that's why I'm like, I will forever have beef with AMC about this. And I don't
Girl.
know if they like put it on Tubi as like a little here you guys go, but I will never forgive you. I will never forgive you for how you did not see the vision of the show and did not understand not only how beautiful but how important this art that was created is and how it is needed. This show is needed.
Absolutely.
I love this
Absolutely.
show.
I love this show too.
I truly love this show. And I want to break down the different dirt sessions and talk about those
Okay.
with you before we do that breakdown. Do you
Mhm.
have any other things that you want to talk about?
I think we're good.
Okay. All right, guys. Join us on the next episode as we break down the different dirt sessions on Damascus. See you soon.
See you next episode.
I'm ready for the next episode. Can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my flat shoes off, no remote control. I'm ready for the next episode.